In 90% of family businesses, whenever they get home, they keep talking about work again.
Is that a good thing?
Family business is a religion. We once had a funny situation with an aluminum supplier who sent us an offer that was only valid for 30 minutes. If you went to the bathroom and took too long, the price would already be different. Never allow even your biggest client to account for more than 25 to 30% of your turnover, because you become extremely dependent, and if something happens to that client, you won't be able to protect your business. I found out that 70% of the world's gross domestic product is generated by family companies. Unfortunately, in Bulgaria, there are no inherited family businesses with more than 35 years of history.
Can you share some numbers about TANGRA with us?
TANGRA is a family company specializing, as you mentioned, in the field of ventilation, air conditioning, heating technology, and energy efficiency. At the moment, our team is just over 100 people. This year, God willing, we will celebrate 35 years since our re-establishment. And I dare say that we are one of the leaders in Bulgaria and the Balkans when it comes to energy efficiency.
Look, before we started recording, you explained very well what energy efficiency is and how the devices you create work.
Simply put, if a device is installed in winter and you open your window, the air coming in will be at minus 12 degrees and you'll have to heat it up from minus 12 degrees. But if it passes through such an operator, the operator will draw in the indoor air, which is already polluted with carbon dioxide, and will use the waste heat. With it, the fresh cold air from minus 12 degrees will be warmed up and supplied to the room at a temperature of around plus 16 or 17 degrees. So you only need to heat it from plus 16 or 17 up to 22 degrees instead of having to heat it from minus 12 to 22 degrees.
How did this continuity come about? Was it through a government route? Are you an heir to people from the business? Or was there a moment when things started heading in a different direction that was closer to your heart?
Ever since I was a child, I knew I wanted to work in our family company. At 13 or 14 years old, I started in the warehouse department, then moved through the production department. Every summer, almost the entire summer, from the age of 13 or 14 onwards, I spent at the company. I even worked as a loader in the warehouse, and in the production department, and just a little in the assembly department, in the sales department, and for many years in marketing. So I went through all the departments with the idea of gaining as much experience as possible so that afterwards I could manage the processes in the company.
He is the one who created the business and keeps it going. I'm glad that you constantly learn from him, aren't you?
It's just that you keep learning from him to this day. We share the same office, work together, and constantly discuss challenges, business processes, and problems. And commercial deals, projects, he is usually one of the people I most often have the opportunity to discuss things with, and he influences my decisions. The other person, of course, is my mother, who is the other partner in the company. She has extremely rich experience in the company's foreign trade activities, both with partners from Europe and with clients, as well as with various partners from outside Europe. There is always a lot I can learn from her. And last but not least, my wife, she has her own law firm, and usually in the evenings after the kids have gone to bed, her legal expertise helps me make more correct and balanced decisions. We always discuss different work processes, both in my business and in hers, and we help each other out.
If the worst day for you in business?
I believe that there are no bad days in business. If you are healthy and you wake up in the morning ready to work, then that's a perfect day for business. There is no bad day for business. The centers in the brain responsible for fears and difficulties are the same ones that handle positive emotions, and a person can calmly reprogram them. It's hard, it requires a lot of diligence. But a person can reprogram them, and instead of experiencing difficulties, feel satisfaction and pleasure.
Without which decision or event would the company not have survived?
One is the conservative financial policy, because if you spend your earned money too quickly and don't invest it in innovations, in inventory, in new machines and equipment that you need, I would say that the business climate in Bulgaria is such that it will very quickly put you in difficulties that you won't be able to cover financially if you don't invest in innovation, in technology, in inventory, but you also have to be conservative. There was a common joke from the early 1990s What is a Bulgarian businessman like? As soon as he makes some money, he starts buying himself a car, a gold chain, which were fashionable to wear on your wrist, and a new apartment, instead of investing in their business. I'll give you an example. When the COVID-19 crisis began and the borders were closed, we didn't experience any difficulties because we had a well-stocked warehouse with components for production. Another policy that I really like, which both my father and I learned from a partner of ours in Italy, is to never allow even your biggest client should not account for more than 25 to 30% of your turnover, because you become extremely dependent, and if something happens with that client and you cannot protect your business, it is not a popular measure, but in the long run for me, these are winning strategies.
Before we started recording, I asked you if you have a brand book and you said you don't.
A brand book like most international corporations have, fully written out, we don't have. We do have some established rules among us, and of course the brand book is just the three of us.
My guest is, the person who will take on the direct responsibilities. He said, for us, we just try to work as much as possible and with the highest quality, and that's it. That's our brand book.
It was extremely interesting for me when I came back in 2010 and had to help with marketing. Suddenly I realized that back in 1991 we had a slogan, caring for your comfort, which we had stopped using, and I asked why, but no one in Bulgaria had an answer.
Yes, traditional family-owned businesses truly live and thrive in their own unique way.
We brought the slogan back and now we use it regularly because truly one of the main things is caring for the comfort of our clients. Yes.
Can you share a story from your business communication? Something that has stayed with you and still holds meaning for you to this day?
Something that comes to mind is from more than 33 years ago, in the early 90s, when there wasn't enough work and people weren't willing to pay for intellectual labor like design or energy efficiency. We started making metal grills and installing them on windows so that people could protect themselves from theft. We were invited to a dental office to install such grills on 2 of their windows. The dentist was very pleased. He liked them. We exchanged business cards and he asked us, "Is this what you do?" We said, "Yes, this is our main activity, along with making metal grills." Then he introduced us to a relative of his who turned out to be involved in the major construction at the Kozloduy nuclear power plant. At that moment, he was assembling a team for the repair of units 1 through 6 at Kozloduy NPP. They invited us and we worked there for 3 years. Like every one of the filtering systems we produced and installed before manufacturing one, we would first design it. We would send the project to the nuclear power plant, and from there it would go to the Committee for the Peaceful Use of Nuclear Energy in Paris. They would check it, approve it, send it back with their stamp, and then we would manufacture and install it. After that, representatives from France would come to approve our products on the territory of the Kozloduy nuclear power plant. This taught us that right from the beginning. The dawn of the business taught us that it doesn't matter what the project is, it doesn't matter who the client or partner is, they might be small. It could be for 1 grate, it could be for 2, or it could be a huge site. Every client brings with them the desire to see a good project completed.
For example, when you have dinner together, do you talk about work as a family?
Maybe in 90% of family businesses, whenever they get home, they keep talking about work.
Is that a good thing?
Recently, through the Family Business Association, I had to give a lecture at the Faculty of Economics at Sofia University, and I found out that 70% of the world's gross domestic product is generated by family companies, which is really wonderful, as a friend of mine says. Family business is a religion. It's an incredibly wonderful thing, and I truly find it very valuable. Before, when I wasn't married, I would come home and together with my parents, we would continue the meeting. Now, my wife and I wait for the kids to fall asleep and then we start. We discuss her business, we discuss our business, and we talk about future opportunities for joint projects. Running a family business always brings this with it. For us, it just happened naturally, and no one minds coming home in the evening and continuing the business meetings and helping each other out. I think it's a really wonderful thing.
Which lesson did you learn the hard way?
I don't think I can recall a lesson that I learned the hard way. In today's digitalized world, there is something I learned very recently, and I would even say I learned it for free. We received an email from our partner in Italy saying that they had changed their bank account, so we paid their last invoice to the new account. We immediately sent the payment confirmation, and they cried out that this was not their bank account and that there was some kind of problem. Our bank helped us immediately. We stopped the payment, got our money back, and their Italian company investigated what had happened. It turned out that they had a breach in their digital system. Someone had gotten in and sent such an email to all their partners, and one of their clients had transferred a much larger sum and hadn't sent the payment confirmation. All that was left for him was to drink a glass of cold water. So since then, we introduced an interesting policy. Whenever any of our partners changes their bank account, we always verify it with them over the phone, letter by letter, digit by digit to be sure, especially in today's world of cyber attacks. This is an approach we learned for free, and thank God it was a useful lesson. Everyone has fears. Of course, when things in family businesses run smoothly across generations, those fears decrease, which makes things easier, but it's not necessarily a good thing, because a person should always keep themselves ready and active in some way. Unfortunately, in Bulgaria, there are no family businesses that have been passed down for more than 35 years. For this reason, in Europe, businesses that started in the 1950s and 1960s are now much further ahead of ours when it comes to dealing with fears. Andrew Huberman, a neurologist and professor at Stanford, has a theory about how a person can cope. You take 2 sharp inhales and then exhale the air slowly and smoothly. The inhaling is done through the nose. In this way, you reduce the carbon dioxide in your brain, calm your heart, and begin to think much more clearly and with better focus. I also really like a movie with Tom Hanks where he plays a lawyer during the Cold War and defends his client. He asks him, "Are you never afraid before a trial?" And the client replies, "And does it help?" When it comes to fears, a person must fight them, stay grounded, and be ready to adapt and enjoy the process of achieving results, rather than expecting that happiness will come only after reaching the goal. For this reason, I dare to say that it's not that I'm never afraid, but I try to fight my fears so I can achieve my goals and enjoy the process, even if things don't work out. That means the goal wasn't the right one, and no one loses. You just need to set your sights on another goal. If something does work out, great. What's the new goal I should focus on? I always have new challenges and tasks written down in my notebook, both for myself and for our team. How is a family business different from or better than a regular company? It's very interesting, especially when comparing with European companies, and based on my observations over the past 10 years, what are the similarities and differences between companies that are publicly listed and those that are still family-owned? Companies that are still family-owned, regardless of their size, including large firms like Bosch or Soler and Palau for fans. Like Trox in our industry, for ventilation grills and equipment, these companies are still family-owned. Their goal is for the company to develop sustainably, to be flexible, and to be a partner to their clients around the world. We have been working with Soler and Palau as their representative in Bulgaria for 30 years now. They are one of the top 3 manufacturers of fans. With just one phone call, I can reach out to the CEO or the owner and get whatever information is needed, or they can help me make things happen. This applies even to projects that are extremely difficult to realize within the given time frame. When we work with most listed companies, they are from Northern Europe, but now it's starting to happen with companies from Central and Eastern Europe as well. However, with most listed companies there, the goal is always to operate in such a way that the organization is definitely profitable for investors, rather than being flexible or keeping up with innovations and market trends. And for this reason, I dare say that what has happened over the years, family-owned companies listed on the stock exchange in order to raise more capital. Those that are already on the stock exchange are starting to recognize the downsides of the last 20 years on the market, and are beginning to look for some kind of alternative. The exit strategy explains it well. Regular companies and ordinary firms seek profit at any cost, whereas a family business seeks sustainability and is much more flexible. Over the years, we've had some extremely interesting partners. One of them is a Bulgarian Jew, the owner of a family company in Israel, who is 91 years old. Every day, together with his wife, arm in arm, he would come to the exhibition stand and spend the whole day at the expo. This man is not a broken Bulgarian speaker when talking to us. And he was happy that there was a Bulgarian company, which again is a family business, at this exhibition, and that it had a stand. Another one of our Italian partners, who is in his 80s, got up in the morning, traveled 400 kilometers for 2 meetings, and came back. We had gone the night before for a meeting at their company with his son, who was running the business at the time. He wanted us to have dinner together, came and brought flowers to my mother and said, "Thank you for waiting for me. I'm sorry I was late." I went to Florence for a meeting and came back so that we could have dinner together and continue the conversations, which would carry on tomorrow in a work setting. This can only happen in a family company. In a publicly listed company, it can't happen because there are unpleasant people or others who have left the family business, and there is some kind of harmony. I don't know who created the harmony, the business or the family. It's not the business, because business every day makes you face difficulties and challenges. But when it's within the family members help each other, even psychologically. It's one thing to sit down and discuss something with a client or partner. It's completely different from discussing it with someone from the family. And I consider that for us, even my colleagues are family, because we are a team that includes colleagues from production and administration. Many of us have been together for 30 years, and with some, even 33 years. Of course, we also have colleagues who have been with us for just 1, 2, or 3 years. But a large part of our team has been with us for many years, and they are the people I am most proud of.
This is a business that deserves to be continued.
Honestly, as difficult as it is, it's just as much a pleasure. It's hard because naturally everyone has a different way of thinking. The easiest thing is for a person to work alone. Henry Ford said that an enterprise should be managed by an odd number of managers, but if there are 3, that's already too many. When you're alone, it's the easiest, because you know what you want and you just do it. But when you do it with your closest person, with your wife, not only can you discuss things and make the right decision, somehow it just works out for the best.
Who would you invite to this series?
I've thought of a few people to suggest. The first is Lyubo Getov from Dvizet, who does business training exceptionally well, and in recent years has been very good at explaining to businesses how to deal with generational differences. Svetlin Kolchov from Rollplast, because in 24 years he managed to build a large sustainable business, perhaps one of the biggest window manufacturers, not only in Bulgaria, but also in the Balkans. Dorina Dobreva from Assist C Bulgaria, besides being involved with garage doors and automated parking systems, has also, for several years now, been dedicated to a social project, the Association for Stroke and Aphasia. There was no such association before. She created it and leads it, and she has been very successful in moving it forward, especially in light of the example I mentioned earlier about digital challenges in the 21st century. Blagomir Petrov, Ilian Calderon, Site and Service. They have been our partner for 20 years.